Morning, guys. This is Deidre from Always Growing. Doing our coffee break this morning. It is Monday morning, bright and early. If you guys haven't figured out yet, this is my favorite coffee cup because it is huge. You can eat soup out of it, but you can also drink a lot of coffee out of it, which is exactly what I'm doing today. So today I wanted to talk to you about something that keeps coming up in my life personally and things that I keep seeing. And I find that this happens a lot for me, usually. It seems that when I am focusing on a certain topic, those sorts of people or those clients come to me with those similar problems, and it happens over and over, and it's kind of my way of knowing that I'm doing the right thing in the right moment, even if it feels like really off pattern. So the thing that has been coming up for me a lot lately in terms of what I'm listening to and seeing and reading and things that I'm noticing in my own personal life is the concept of setting boundaries. So whether that is setting boundaries in terms of what you want your business to look like, what your career looks like for you, if it is how your time off looks, how you structure your day, and what those boundaries look like. If you are somebody who works in an office setting and you are supposed to be there from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. and you find that you keep getting pulled into meetings right before 4 o'clock when you're set to leave because you've been there for the full day. Also in like friendships and romantic relationships, setting boundaries with other people in terms of like your time and your space and what that looks like for you is something that I keep having come up and things that keep appearing just in my life. And so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what that can look like in terms of your nutrition and how to set boundaries in different aspects of your life so that you can be successful when it comes to any type of nutrition plan that you are following or trying to follow and any changes that you're trying to make. So the first one is in regards to changing the way that you diet. So let's say that you normally eat bread and sugary foods, pastries are not off limits for you. Totally cool. But rather than restricting yourself, and this is something that I have talked about before, I like to instead add things. So let's say instead of saying I'm not going to eat blueberry muffins anymore, instead I'm going to start adding in avocado in the morning and see how that feels, sort of thing. You might find yourself no longer needing those pastries in the morning, which is kind of the goal. So that's the first piece, but also give yourself parameters. So a lot of people, when they try to remove something, if you are somebody who wants to remove something, they say, I'm not going to do any of this anymore. And it's really hard, especially when it is a pretty solid staple in your normal life. So instead of with like the blueberry muffin example, let's say you always have a blueberry muffin on your way to work, you pick up your coffee, there's a muffin there. Instead of saying, I'm never going to do this, give yourself a number of times per week that you will do that. So maybe that's 1 or 2 times. Maybe it's one less than what you're normally doing. So let's say you're doing 5 days a week. Now do 4 and see how that feels. And then take it down to 3 and see how that feels. And then keep going. And find that happy medium because at the end of the day, you are making progress. So that's one of the ways that you can set boundaries for yourself in terms of not being restrictive, but also setting a parameter for you. The next way is to think about the whole day or the bigger picture in general. So whether that means that you're looking at the whole day or the whole week, this can be really helpful in terms of deciding what those boundaries should look like and where they lie. So for example, if you are somebody who knows that you should be getting this many portions of protein in a day, you can decide where those go in the day. Now, ideally, they're going to be spread out evenly throughout the day because we know that protein consistently throughout the day is going to be our best option for not only keeping us full, but keeping our energy level sustained in terms of our blood glucose. But also, if that doesn't happen in the morning, let's say you wake up late, you don't get your protein first thing in the morning and you have to get it later on, you have some flexibility in terms of that boundary that you've set for yourself in terms of the bigger picture to get that later on. The day is not a loss if you have one slip up and something doesn't go according to plan. As long as you are looking at that big picture and what that boundary looks like for you in terms of this is the whole day or this is the whole week, you can still have a success, count as a success. Same thing goes for in a week. Let's say you want to be 80% compliant, and this is something that I've talked about extensively before. If you are 80% compliant throughout the entire week, then that's great. That means that 20% of the week can be off course a little bit. Those can be your cheat meals. They could just be something that didn't go exactly the way you wanted it to. But then that gives you some boundary in terms of, this is what I'm going for, this is what's going to check it off as a win for me, and this is what's going to check it off as not a win for me. So that's number 2. Number 3 is something that I know a lot of people really struggle with in terms of changing their diets a little bit. Many people get a lot of negative feedback from people in terms of why they're changing their diet, or why they won't eat certain things, whether that's from friends or family, or why you won't go out drinking, for example. So if you normally run with people who like to go have beer, but you no longer want to go have beer with them because you're trying to do something for your diet, that can be a difficult thing. So the first thing I would say is to get clear on your why. So when you know what your why is, it's going to be very easy to set those boundaries for your friends and family. When you know that you're doing something for a purpose, it's very easy to say, this is why I'm not doing this. And ideally, you're going to have friends and family who are going to understand those boundaries and be cognizant of them and accept them. But it's not uncommon for anybody in general to not be told a certain boundary before in their lives. And people don't know how to accept being told no all the time. So that is one thing just to be aware of in terms of talking with people about changing your nutrition. But if you are really clear on why you're doing it, if there's a distinct goal in mind, whether that is getting healthy for your wedding so that you can fit in your wedding dress the way you would like to look, if that means that you want to feel healthier, you're starting to resolve a health issue, if that means that you want to lose this weight or gain this muscle for this purpose, let's say you have something coming up, an athletic goal that you're trying to reach, those goals are going to be really easy to make it communicable to other people as to why you're doing it and why that boundary and saying no to certain things is important for you. So I hope this helps a little bit. I'd be really curious to know what kind of boundaries you guys struggle with in terms of how you eat and what that looks like for you and what the real challenge is there for you guys. I'll talk to you soon.